Thanks for dropping in. Spooky season has arrived, so we're kicking things off with 2 Halloween-themed projects to keep your 3D printer busy. First up is a remix of the mix and match Twisty fidget I designed earlier this year. The old design has been transformed into a pumpkin. The fidget uses embedded magnets to create a satisfying snap as you rotate the pumpkin halves. There's also a jack-o'-lantern version with 3 faces you can jumble: classic, happy, and scary. If you want to make your own copy, you're going to need some magnets. You can use either 6x3 or 3x3mm cylinder magnets. Both standard sizes I use in many of my designs. If you have both sizes on hand, I think the 3x3 option is the best. It's the easiest to twist and gives you more clicks per rotation. To embed the magnets in the fidget, you'll need to pause the print just before it begins to seal up the magnet holes. Then drop the magnets in, altering the polarity every other hole. If you're printing the jack-o'-lantern version, make sure that the holes positioned closest to the eyes and mouth are opposite polarities. If you mix those up, the jack-o'-lantern will be permanently misaligned. That's theoretically speaking, of course. I'd never make that mistake myself. The fidget halves are held together with a threaded core. If you have no plans on disassembling the fidget, you can add a drop of glue to the thread to make that connection permanent. Our next Halloween model is potentially more practical. I've remixed my sliding shutter pencil case into a coffin. This curious crypt container is perfect for holding fun-size candies, or even some full-size candy bars. The coffin comes in 4 designs: plain, which you can use for remixing or adding your own custom text; fat, for a good vampire coffin; cracked, which gives you a subtle sneak peek inside the container; or spiderweb, which is the best option if you want a clear view of the container's contents. Spiderweb is extra good for teasing enticing treats, although I wouldn't use it for the smallest of candies. To avoid difficult to print overhangs, the main frame of the coffin prints in 2 separate pieces that snap together. No glue required. But the process does need a little finesse, so I'll demonstrate what worked best for me. First, place the 2 cases together like this in a wedge shape. There's a very small lip carved into the top case that will help with your alignment. Then slowly press the cases together from the bottom until you hear a click from the internal latches falling into place. At this point, stop. Before closing the cases further, we need to slide in the shutter from the front end of the coffin. Once that's in place, close the case the rest of the way, pressing where needed to force the snaps closed. This model can be printed just fine in PETG or PLA, but I'd avoid the more brittle filaments, like silk and matte PLAs, since those are more likely to snap. That's all the Halloween models for this video. Now I've got to start printing copies for gifts. So until next time, happy printing, and thanks for stopping by. Thanks for sticking around to the end. If you're wondering why there weren't any 3D printing videos last month, well, you've sadly missed out on a whole series of shorts I posted to the channel. Due to the nature of how shorts are delivered, lots of people were confused by the apparent lack of content. So let's catch everyone back up. Last year, I dedicated September to learning how to use Nomad Sculpt on the iPad by creating a series of mini monsters: a ghost, a mummy, Frankenstein, Dracula, and a werewolf. I learned a lot, so I decided to bring the event back with 5 more designs. This year's Sculptember monsters were a mare monster, a witch, a skeleton, a slime creature, and a gargoyle. Digital sculpting is way outside my expertise, but these have been a lot of fun to make. So Sculptember will be back next year with even more mini monster models. Maybe we should add some sci-fi or fantasy creatures to the mix. Well, what do you think?